By all accounts, Jessica Bradford was a warm-hearted and dedicated woman who graduated with a degree in social work from Oakwood University in 2011. After a couple of years, she earned her certification in counseling and joined the staff at Riverview Mental Health Institute. Jessica's life was centered around helping others, especially families in crisis. As a counselor, she became well known for her empathy and ability to connect with those in need, gaining the trust of both her colleagues and patients. Her commitment to mental health care was unparalleled, and she quickly became a respected figure at the Institute. By 2015, Jessica had married Daniel Harper, an architect based in Chicago. A year after their marriage, they welcomed their first child, a daughter named Mia. Mia was an energetic and curious girl, and Jessica loved sharing moments of joy and learning with her. Their family expanded again in 2018 with the birth of their son, Ethan, a cheerful and adventurous boy. Jessica's friends would often comment on how naturally she took to motherhood, balancing her career with her love for her children. Every weekend, Jessica and Daniel could be found at the park or hosting playdates at their home, which had become the ideal setting for family life. Their house in the quiet suburbs of Chicago, with its sprawling backyard and family-friendly neighborhood, embodied the American dream. Despite the challenges of raising two young children, Jessica remained positive, often sharing her gratitude for her family on social media. Her posts were filled with love for Mia and Ethan, and she regularly expressed how much she cherished her role as a mother. However, after Ethan's birth, Jessica started to feel the pressures of balancing work, motherhood, and personal time. Friends noticed that she seemed more withdrawn, although she maintained a cheerful exterior. By late 2020, Jessica began to struggle with overwhelming anxiety and bouts of sadness. The pressures of motherhood, combined with her demanding work schedule, began to weigh heavily on her. In an effort to cope, she sought help through therapy and was prescribed medication to manage her anxiety and depression. At first, it seemed to help. Jessica shared with her friends that she felt more in control and was doing her best to prioritize self-care through exercise and proper sleep. However, as the months went on, Jessica's mental health deteriorated. She confided in her husband, Daniel, about her growing fears of not being able to manage everything. She had recurring thoughts about her failures as a mother and feared she was not giving Mia and Ethan the care they deserved. Though she remained active in her children's lives, the weight of her mental health struggles became unbearable. In November 2022, Jessica sought additional treatment at a nearby mental health facility, but the doctors did not diagnose her with any severe conditions like postpartum depression. Instead, they recommended she continue her therapy and adjust her medications. By January 2023, her anxiety had reached a critical point. Despite regular therapy sessions and a loving family support system, Jessica's inner turmoil continued to spiral. On January 15th, she revealed to Daniel that she had been experiencing disturbing thoughts about harming herself. Alarmed, Daniel insisted she admit herself to a hospital for immediate psychiatric care. Jessica spent several days at Oak Ridge Mental Health Center, where she received intensive counseling and was closely monitored. Upon her release, doctors felt confident that Jessica was no longer a danger to herself or others. Yet no one could predict the tragedy that would soon unfold. On January 25, 2023, Jessica's emotional state reached a breaking point. That morning seemed like any other, with Jessica preparing breakfast for her family and taking Mia to her pediatrician for a routine checkup. After the appointment, she returned home, spending the afternoon with Mia and Ethan in their playroom. Daniel, working from home in his upstairs office, heard Jessica and the children laughing, giving him no reason to suspect anything was wrong. Around 4:30 p.m., Jessica texted Daniel, asking if he could pick up dinner from their favorite local restaurant, along with a prescription for the children. Daniel agreed and left the house at 5 p.m. to run the errands. At 5:30 p.m., Jessica called him to check on the order, their conversation seemingly normal. However, Daniel later recalled that Jessica's voice had an unusual tone, as if she was distracted by something. At 6:15 p.m., Daniel returned home. As he walked into the house, he immediately sensed something was wrong. The air was still, and the usual sounds of Mia and Ethan playing were absent. Daniel called out for Jessica and the kids but received no response. His panic rose as he searched the house. When he reached the upstairs bedroom, he found the door locked. Alarmed, he forced it open to discover Jessica unconscious on the floor, with empty pill bottles scattered nearby. As he frantically tried to revive her, he called 911, unsure of what had happened. When the paramedics arrived, they attended to Jessica and then rushed her to the hospital. But the real horror was yet to be discovered. Daniel, now overwhelmed with dread, continued to search for his children. As he entered the basement, he found Mia and Ethan unresponsive, lying side by side. An emergency team quickly arrived, but it was too late for Mia and Ethan. Both had tragically succumbed to poisoning from the medication Jessica had ingested earlier. Jessica survived but was left physically and mentally shattered. She was charged with 2 counts of murder and was eventually transferred to a psychiatric facility for long-term care. The trial that followed was filled with harrowing details of her mental health struggles, her medication regimen, and the unbearable pressure she had felt as a mother. Daniel, heartbroken and in shock, struggled to make sense of what had happened to his once happy family. The tragedy of Jessica Bradford raised difficult questions about mental health, the pressures of motherhood, and the societal expectations placed on women. Daniel's grief was profound, and while he forgave his wife, the pain of losing his children would forever shape his life. Jessica's case became a reminder of the importance of recognizing and treating mental health issues before they lead to unimaginable consequences.